Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is great to have you with me. The Minnesota Vikings will face the Atlanta Falcons, the old dirty birds. We all remember them from 1998. Sons of Guns. Sons of Guns ended our spectacular season, but we got them back the next year, remember? Week 1 of the next year, we got those bozos back, all right. We got a battle of backup quarterbacks, ladies and gentlemen. Taylor Heineke, Jaren Mahomes Hall. It's going to be an interesting game. The Minnesota Vikings coming off a victory against their hated rivals, the Green Bay Packers. The Atlanta Falcons coming off a loss against the Tennessee Titans, who were up at halftime 14-3, and the Falcons made a change at quarterback. They almost pulled it out. So we'll talk about that here, but we know how we start off this show, and wow, we starting off with a bomb. T-Bass in the building with the $40 super chat. Wow, that's the first one. That's the highest one I've ever got. T-Bass, thank you so very, very much. I appreciate your loyalty, your support, your kindness. Thank you so very much. I do appreciate you. We got Sodak Kid in the building. What's going on, Sodak? Good to see you. Thank you kindly for joining us. SKOL Mafia, my SKOL brother, he goes Vol Hala. I get what you did there. I see what you did there, my friend. We got SKOL for Life Barber in the building. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Barber? Get your fade on. Of course, T-Bash, you would say that, wouldn't you? We got Grandpa Dave from Vikings First and SKOL in the building as well. Thank you guys so very, very much. I'm going to leave T-Bass up there for a minute because he didn't get his, he didn't get his time because he did it before the show. He did it at 6 o'clock in the afternoon or 6 o'clock in the evening. And I mean it, T-Bass, and I mean it to each and every one of you. I am truly humbled by the support, by the loyalty, by pretty much everything. And I know we have something in common. We all like talking about the Vikings, and we just want to see the Vikings win the Super Bowl, particularly just once before we die. But having said all that, it's just been a little over a year, and to T-Bass's point, getting to 850 is amazing. It's humbling, and it makes you feel good that people tune in, people support you, and all that good stuff. We got Clifford in the building. Shout out to Clifford. What's going on? Good to see you. Thank you kindly so much for joining me. We've got the matriarch in the building. What's up, Mary? I hope you're feeling better. Text me after the show and let me know how things going for you. Everybody keep your prayers up for Miss Mary as well, if you could, please. Because this wonderful woman has gone through a little too much, and we just need to get this stuff figured out and fixed. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Thank you, Clifford. I was just going to go look it up. So, all right, Tennessee up 10-7. All right, fair enough. All right, y'all. It's that time because I've shouted y'all out. It's that time. And you know what's funny about it is I done just messed it up by changing this layout for earlier, but that's all right. That's all right. There's nothing that can't be undone. Nothing that can't be undone. So, you know how after I shout you guys all out, we do some other shout outs here. So you know where I'm going with this. We're going to start. Yeah, my editing skills were not very good there. There we go. Let's try that again. We're going to shout out to every member, veteran or active, of all of our armed forces and all of our military who fought for our freedoms and who continue to fight for our freedoms. We are the greatest country on this planet, the greatest country that ever was, that ever is, and ever will be, because of this hard work and sacrifices of these brave men and women, as well as the sacrifices made by their families when they go out to continue to keep our freedoms. Their families are the ones that have to give up their time. So we got to shout out them. We got to shout them out. We also got to shout out to the brave men and women who serve as our law enforcement, fire departments, and EMS, who in times of tragedy are the ones running towards the danger, while the rest of us are just trying to get away from it. Thank you so kindly for your courage, your bravery, your strength of character, because ultimately that humbles me too. That humbles me too. As well as our doctors, nurses, frontline workers, surgeons, home health care providers, for in our time of medical need, are always there to try to help us get better. The brave men and women that I have listed here in these three groups at times can work very thankless jobs. So for as long as I got this microphone and as long as I got people tuning in, I'm going to shout them out at the beginning and say thank you for all of the hard work that you guys do, that we all benefit from, that all make our way of life possible. So thank you so very, very much to each and every one of you. But I digress. What are we going to talk about here tonight? Well, the first thing is hit that reset button. If you didn't hit that like button, hit that like for me. If this is your first time here, put something in the chat and we'll shout you out. And we always do a special shout outs for first timers on here. And if it's your second time and I think it's your first time, I might shout you out again that way anyway. So forgive me if I do something crazy like that. But you know what? Like I said, doing this is just, it's not that it can't be done without you guys. It's not that it's a requirement, but at the same time, it's so much more fun. It is so much more fun when you guys are here, hitting up that chat, hitting me back left and right. So I want you guys to know I appreciate the heck out of it. But before we get started, we got a whole bunch of comments here. So first off, for those of you that just got in here, look at what T-Bass did. Shout out to everybody. Shout out T-Bass for the $40 super chat. And you know what? I had just gotten right into it. So we got to give T-Bass this. I appreciate you, T-Bass. I appreciate you, man. All right. Let's get some shout outs here because I know some people came in the building while I was giving my intro. So there you go. Shout out Yogi in the building. What's up, Yogi? Good to see you. Good to see you. I appreciate you, SKOL, bro. I appreciate you. We got Mateo in the building. Dobbs gang. Nah, we'll talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about that. You're welcome, Mary. You're absolutely welcome. Here's the other queen. You know what we haven't seen in a while? AJ, the Vikings fan that lives in Green Bay. Yo, you're right. You're right. We ain't seen him in a minute. But shout out to you, Sarah. Thank you so kindly. Much appreciated. Much, much appreciated. T-Bash, you need an old voter of the Vikings formation for this party. maybe. I agree, Dave. That's a pretty good idea. Shout out to SKOL TYA Catch 84. What's up, Curtis? Thanks so kindly for joining me this evening. The McAndrews, one of my OGs, one of my original subscribers. That's why I call him the OG. Thank you so very much, McAndrews. It really does mean a lot. We got Two-Tone Tony in the building. Let's go Hall. That's right. We're going to talk about that. Shout out to Two-Tone as well. Hey, Justin, long-time chatter, first-time listener. Oh, that's good. That's good, Kurt. That was pretty good. And that gets back to what I was saying a moment ago. Y'all put a smile on my face. I hope I can at some point do the same and be entertaining for you guys. And we're going to talk some Vikings here now. So first off, let's get a little of this going here. Right. Because it sounds right in my headset, but that doesn't mean it sounds right for you guys. So, and now let me put a bookmarker. So when I get back to the chats, I know where to go. I appreciate you. Appreciate you guys. Okay. We always start out after the shout outs and after my thank yous with the NFC North Roundup. Before I do that, let me get this comment out the way. Now, because I turned this into podcasts, I need endpoints. So I'm going to start this again. We're going to start out with the NFC North Roundup. The Green Bay Packers at noon will be hosting the Los Angeles Rams of Anaheim. They're 2-5. The Rams are 3-5. Somehow, some way, the Green Bay Packers, the team we saw last week, are favored by 3 points. I don't get it. I know the Rams are just kind of mediocre at best, but Green Bay is so bad. I'm taking the Rams in that game. You better believe that. Also at 12 noon Central Time, we got the Bears going down to the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans favored by 8.5 points. The Bears are terrible. And there gives me no greater joy as a Vikings fan starting out when I round up our division than to say the Packers and the Bears are garbage. They're absolute garbage. I mean, I know we got our flaws and we got things we got to work on as well, but oh, it's so good. Now the Lions are on the bye week, so they can't lose, but they can't win either. So there's that. All right. My quick take on this trade situation here. Trade deadline was Tuesday. Vikings send out Ezra Cleveland, get back this Dobbs character from the Arizona Cardinals, do some pick swaps. Not as much as I would have liked to see, but at the end of the day, it takes two to tango. You know, people were probably offering third-round picks for Danielle Hunter, and I wouldn't have traded him for a third-round pick now if I was offered a first-round pick, despite the fact that we've won 3 games in a row and what that would do to the locker room. You really can't pass up a first-round pick for anybody, especially a guy who is not under contract after this season. But having said that, bringing in another quarterback, not the worst thing in the world. I'm not going to be jumping up and down for this guy. He was 1-7, I believe, as a starter, granted with the absolutely pitiful Arizona Cardinals, and that organization is just a dumpster fire. But I'm not really looking much for this guy. You know, some people are going around saying, you know, Jaren Hall, he's going to get 1 game until Dobbs gets ready. And once Dobbs is ready, he's going to take the reins for the rest of the season. I say hell no to that. Absolutely not. I've been saying it. If Kirk Cousins went down for the entire season, you give Jaren Hall the rest of the games so that we can find out if he can sink or swim. There is no intrinsic value of bringing in Dobbs, letting Jaren Hall. I don't care if Jaren Hall is terrible. He gets all 9 games if I'm the coach. I don't care how bad he is because I know what I got in Dobbs. I got a guy that's just a guy. He's Andy Dalton. He's Teddy Bridgewater. He's Case Keenum. Okay, all those other quarterbacks that we named last week of, well, who could we get here to supplement our quarterback room? That's all Dobbs is. Now, yeah, a little more mobile than Kirk. But like, oh, okay. Both of these guys are less mobile. Yeah. You know, maybe we can run some wildcat formations and do some run pass option with these guys. To me, keep it simple. Keep it simple. So, again, throwing out Ezra Cleveland, you weren't going to re-sign the guy, so you got something for him, and that's okay. And reminder, it is Carolina's 6th-round pick, so it's going to be the first, or at best, the second pick of the 6th round. You say, well, we might have got a compensatory pick that's higher. Well, you don't know that. First off. Second off, it doesn't happen until 2025. So I don't want to hear, oh, you should have just kept him. Maybe you can make the argument to keep him for depth purposes. Sure. But if you can get something in return for a guy that's not coming back, I say do it. Now, I do believe that he wanted to ship out KJ Osborne, but with Justin Jefferson out for at least 1 more week, most likely 2, hopefully it's only 1, you would have had a hole. You wouldn't have had much depth at the wide receiver position. So you can't really blame him for that. But having said all that, yeah, you got Dobbs and you took a 6th-round pick and downsized to a 7th-round pick and still got a backup quarterback. Okay. And then when you compile that with what you got from Ezra Cleveland, you basically took Ezra Cleveland and flipped it to a 7th-round pick and this Dobbs guy. That's pretty good. Is it spectacular? Am I jumping up and down, be like, wow, how did Kwesi pull all that off? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. But I think he did okay. I think too many people have unrealistic expectations and then just throw Kwesi under the bus, be like, oh, he's terrible. He didn't get anything for Dalvin Cook. He didn't get much for Zadarius Smith. Takes 2 to tango. Supply and demand. Free market economy. We talked earlier about our great nation and all the stuff that comes with it. The same thing applies to the NFL. Supply and demand. So I think he did about as well as he could. Back to the comments. I got a bunch of people. I got some comments to shout people out on here. What's going on here? Where are we at? Thank you. Hopefully this will be on. You dang right, Mary. You dang right. Shout out Bandino in the building. SKOL for the holidays. Yes. See, I did that on Monday. On my Monday show, I said Kirktober is over and now it's holiday season or something like that. But anyway, appreciate you for coming on, Bandino. T-Bass, Justin, we're going to drink some beer and chase some women at SKOL Fest next year. I'm going to show you how this old man rolls with a bit. All right, T-Bass. You know what? You set it up now. You set it up. So ain't no backing out of this now. Ain't no backing out of this now. Yogi, I am not sure what in the world you are going around this, but I'm not going to say this on Mafia D. I don't know where you guys were going with it, so I'm just going to leave it alone. Shout out to Frozen North in the building. What's going on, Frozen? Good to see you. Good to see you. Appreciate that. I thought there was one more. No. See, I'm not going to put these all up. You guys been... Yeah, I knew there was one more. Shout out Dave Thibodeau in the building. What's going on, Dave? Good to see you. We got a house call from the doctor, Dr. Proto. Good evening to you as well. Appreciate you. Appreciate all you guys. Don't forget about me. Oh, yes. SKOL Mafia will be in the building come next year. SKOL Fest 2.0. Shout out Ryan in the building. I saw it in there, and I was waiting for it to come up in here. Both teams suck, but go Rams. Here's the only thing I'm going to say about the Packers. I want them to get like 2, maybe 3 more wins so that they get out of the Caleb Williams, Drake May sweepstakes. So at some point, like maybe when they play the Bears again, and maybe when they play the Lions again, it's not that we're going to root for the Packers, but we're going to hope that maybe they just get a couple more wins. That way, like I said, they don't have the number 1 overall pick or even a top 5 pick. But shout out Ryan in the building. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Doctor says bourbon barrel aged. Oh, boy. You are not kidding. Mateo says, I have my doubts on all. He didn't do anything worth talking about at BYU. Yeah, Pookie had nothing. Yet he washed Stanford and made it the Cooper Cup. Still rooting, of course. Here's the thing. I'm going to get back to it. You know what? I'm going to get back to that. He is who he is. And what he is, we don't know anything about yet. We don't know anything about him. So, yes, that Love Boat episode was absolutely spectacular. Shout out to Curtis again for that lovely episode. All right. What we got next on the extravaganza, ladies and gentlemen. Taylor's revenge game. Taylor Heineke. Y'all remember him, don't you? He was with the Minnesota Vikings a little while ago. And in fact, in 2016, he very well probably would have got the starting job if he hadn't busted his stuff up and busted into his apartment because he locked his keys in there, probably after a few drinks, doing some drinks and total buzzkill. And I'm not saying we still wouldn't have traded for Sam Bradford, but at the end of the day, Taylor Heineke, he's just a guy. He's again, Andy Dalton, Teddy Bridgewater kind of guy. Case Keenum, coming in for some backup duty every once in a while, sure. But expecting him to be a starter week in, week out, no, he ain't got that. He ain't got that. I will say again, last week came in at halftime and did a lot better than Desmond Ridder did. Got to say that for sure. I mean, last week he got what? 8 out of 12, I believe. Yeah, 8 out of 12, only 71 yards. So he was just, excuse me, that was Ritter's. Taylor Heineke, 12 for 21, 175 yards and a touch. Respectable for a half. Sure. Respectable. But against Tennessee, again, he was playing catch up because Will Levis just threw all over those guys. So it's going to be interesting to see what Taylor Heineke's got for us. I think defensively, you should not give up any more than 17 points. And I'm going to go over the stats and statistics and rankings on Sunday morning for the pregame show. But what I can tell you guys for right now, this guy and this offense shouldn't have anywhere close to enough for us. Nothing close. Again, Bijan Robinson last week, 11 carries, 62 yards. I don't understand why they have this big old running back by committee. 1, 2, 3, 4. They had 5 guys with at least 2 rushes. Now, one of them was Taylor Heineke with 2, and one of them was Desmond Ridder for 3. But I don't understand why they don't just feed Bijan Robinson the ball. We saw what he did against the Green Bay Packers. I know, he had some injuries, a little bit of injury stuff, but to me, either sit him or play him. I've never liked the idea of keeping running backs like on a pitch count because, they're coming off of an injury and they're only 80%, 90%. Get 100% healthy. Or if you're going to put them in the game saying, this person at 85% is still better than anything else we got, well, then give him the ball. Yeah, I would absolutely love it if Bijan Robinson only got 11 carries against us. I would love it because that means they're putting Taylor Heineke in a position to beat us. Good luck with that. I mean, I get it. It's not the first time that Taylor Heineke has played us. We played him last year, as a matter of fact. when he was with the Washington football team. We won that game 20-17, and 7 of those 17 points came off that bogus touchdown where that official ran into one of our guys, or would have been either a knockdown or an interception at minimum, one of those two things. So, last year we only gave up ostensibly 10 points to the guy. And yeah, it was a struggle. We were down in that game. I remember where I was. I was at the Mall of America because the SKOL North crew had a watch party before a live episode of Ventline. And that was about the time that I started my channel. And, I was in the crowd, not by myself. And that was a fun afternoon. It really was. So Taylor Heineke, mediocre at best. Defensively, Brian Flores, I'm pretty sure he's got something for this young man because, we should not, like I said, be giving up any more than 17 points against these guys. Particularly, again, put everything into stopping the run and make Taylor Heineke beat you because he can't. Just like what I said with Jordan Love last week. Just stop Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon because Jordan Love can't beat us. And what happened? Jordan Love was terrible. Taylor Heineke, I'm not going to say I would rather have him over. Well, yeah, I'd rather have him over Jordan Love. That's for sure. I don't know yet if I'd rather have him over Jaren Hall, but we'll see. I think Taylor's got revenge on his mind, and he can have that all he wants. It's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. Let's get back to the chat. Almost exclusively doing lives or shorts. I'm like, you know what I found for me? I just love doing the lives because I love the interaction. And you know what? If I trip over my words, I let it go. If I'm doing just a recording, I got editing to do. I got post-production to do where, a 7-minute episode takes me like an hour and a half. If I'm going to spend an hour and a half, I'm going to spend it with you guys live and in person. So that's just kind of where I'm at right now. But I digress. Let's hit the reset button. Hit that like button if you didn't on the way in. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button for me as well. Just trying to grow the community. Like Grandpa Dave says all the time, just trying to grow this thing. And again, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you because I finally hit 850. Just need 150 more. Well, 143 now because I think I was at 857 when he got in here, but you get the point. Share it. Put it on Twitter. Put it on Facebook. Talk to your friends that are Vikings fans. Be like, hey, you watch YouTube people? Oh, go check this Justin guy out. Purple and gold for days. Purple and gold for days, huh? Yeah, his last name's Day, so he had to incorporate it somehow. Mary says, I'm excited to watch all Sunday. So am I. Did I miss somebody? I thought I did. No, I didn't. So we got young Cringe in the building. What's going on, Cringe? Appreciate you. Put Addison in the backfield now, given his issues with press, and try to figure out a running back room, fix two problems, one solution. I'm not making him a running back. Yeah, I'll make him. I mean, again, that touchdown that he had last week against Green Bay, he was lined up in the backfield, and Jair Alexander couldn't jam him. I don't have a problem with him lining up in the backfield to go out into routes, but if you're implying that we need to give him carries, absolutely not. But having said that, yeah, I can't wait till JJ gets back. I can't wait. I just can't wait because Addison is coming to his own. And now we don't have to rely so much on JJ. Shout out Mr. Tonic in the building. What is going on, man? Good to see you. I see Mr. Tonic on Purple Daily's chat. This is first time making a comment. So everybody say hello to Mr. Tonic, who I've interacted with, like I said, on SKOL North's Purple Daily. I so much appreciate you, man. I so much appreciate you. Finally able to catch you. Like, hey, that's it. That's what I'm saying. So we shout out people as you have seen me do it. And when you're a first timer, I asked the chat, I asked the crowd, everybody shout them out. Everybody shout out my guy, Mr. Tonic. Appreciate you. Anybody who caught the love boat. Oh gosh. All right. Cringe is just saying no swings. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm with you on that, but you can only do that so many times before it's like, okay, we got this figured out. So you gotta be judicious about it. But I like it. I like what you're saying. Just hope Jaren can get us a win. Absolutely. In fact, I'm going to talk about him shortly. That's my next one. He looks just all right. I guess I'm just going to have to brace it. I don't know if Two Evil's in the building yet. But yeah, that's where it all started. So you know what? I'm just not going to run from it anymore. I'm just not going to run from it anymore. Shout out to being, hold on. I Manic. I'm just calling Manic. You have to admit the Vikings are entertaining. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Or, ma'am, I shouldn't even say, sir. You are correct. They are absolutely entertaining. And sometimes we just want to have an easy victory so that, we don't have heart attacks or the anxiety of a team once again dinking and dunking around with a team they really shouldn't. But I appreciate you, Manic. Shout out Manic, everybody. First time in the building for Manic. So there you go. Shout him out, yo. Hey, I ain't seeing but 2 or 3 for Mr. Tonic here. Come on, you guys. Show Mr. Tonic some love. Show him how we do it. Show him how we do it. Frozen, did you walk in the I don't know what that's about. So, all right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. So, you got to phonetically tell me how you do it. Ben, how you say it for you? Phonetically for me, if you could, please. Phonetically for me. Hey, we got Dayon in the building. What's going on, Dayon? Good to see you as well. If you haven't already done so, hit those like buttons for me, if you could, please, and hit that subscribe button if you don't subscribe already. Appreciate you guys so very, very much. All right. So now it's time to get to the issue at hand. So we're going to do this. A New Hope. Yes, I know. Stealing a bit from Star Wars, but that's all right. Oh, real quick before I do this. Benignly. Benignly manic. All right. My eyes are a little, it's towards the end of the day, and I haven't gotten as much sleep as I would like to the last few days, but that's all right. It's good to see you too, man. Good to see you. Justin, it was a quote from, oh, that's right. I remember now. Thank you. Thank you, Catch. I appreciate you. All right. We're going to start this over again because, the podcast wouldn't really be good if I had all that in there. Jaren Hall, A New Hope. I know. It's unlikely he's going to be Luke Skywalker. But at the end of the day, right now, he's our guy. He's our leader. And as I have said multiple times this week, he should get every game, barring injury. I don't care how he looks. And you know what? I'm confident he's going to look pretty good. I'm not saying he's going to set the world on fire, but I'm confident he's not going to be garbage. And the reason I say that is because, again, he's got Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and the new and improved, oh, wait, can't be new and improved, the improved offensive line. I mean, again, we've been saying for years, we just need to get Cousins a decent offensive line, and we did. And then, of course, he, had to get injured and stuff. So Vikings-like. But anyway, at the end of the day, I think Jaren Hall is being dropped into a good infrastructure on the offensive side. Very good offensive line. Addison, Hawkinson. Hopefully starting next week, Justin Jefferson. Again, anybody who says that this guy doesn't have it and they're already convinced he'll never be anything more than a clipboard holder, I'm sorry. You're wrong. We don't have enough evidence of that. And I'll say the same thing on the other side. Anybody who says, oh my gosh, we got a guy who is going to be the unquestioned starter in 2024, I'm going to say the same thing. We don't know what we got. We don't know what we got. But what we do have is a guy who has exuded leadership since he got here. I remember 2 interviews that he did during training camp where he was loquacious, respectful, knowledgeable, mature. And again, the interview he did on Monday that I played for you guys on my Monday show, same kind of thing. What is it like? Do you think you're prepared? And he's like, yeah, I got good coaches. They got me prepared. We knew at any point in time I could step in. So I'm not saying he's going to set the world on fire, but what I am going to say is he at best was working with 2s and 3s. He was running the scout team, which is, the decoy that your defense can play against, who's trying to mimic the quarterback of the team you're going to play this week. So no, he wasn't getting many reps, and the reps he was getting, he wasn't throwing to JJ, TJ, and Ja. Nah. So again, it's going to be interesting. And again, I'm not looking for too much because he's only had a week's worth of practice with these guys. I'm not saying he never threw to those guys in practice. I'm sure he got a few tosses to him once in a while, but he's taking the reins now. He's absolutely taking the reins now. And I'm here for it. I am here for it. My best case scenario when he was drafted was that maybe they would have seen enough evidence to say, all right, we found a diamond in the rough. Well, now it ain't a maybe. Now it's his show. I mean, it'll always be Justin Jefferson's show. We already know that. But from the quarterback position, it's his show. And I am so looking forward to this. And it may not be very good. It could be an abject failure. and then you do go with I still would keep him in unless he is so bad. I mean, Jordan Love bad. Okay. If he looks like Jordan Love out there, I would still give him a few more games because, again, Jordan Love, he went through training camp all off season knowing he was going to be the number one quarterback. Jaren Hall didn't do that. So, yeah, even if he does look like Jordan Love or Justin Fields or, name your mediocre at best, bad quarterback at worst, I don't care. He's the guy we drafted. They saw something in him to draft him. And as I said, he's a mature guy. Everybody want to talk about, well, he's 25 years old. So what? So what? He's 23 in football years because he took 2 years off. But I don't care if he's 25. I don't care. That means he's a mature guy. It means he's not 21, going out chasing tail, going out drinking at the bars and at the clubs. He ain't in the club. He's at home with his wife and kids. So who cares if he's 25 years old? I sure don't. I don't buy this logic of, well, he's already 25, so there's really all that much difference between a 25-year-old and a 22-year-old. Okay, it's 3 years. Big deal. Big deal. Like I said, he's been soaking it all up. He's been watching Kirk Cousins. He's been listening to Kevin O'Connell. I'm really looking forward to watching this guy on Sunday. And you know what? The opponent he's got, Atlanta's nothing special. Atlanta's mediocre. I mean, there's a lot of mediocre teams. Okay, they're 4-4 just like we are. They've had their ups and downs. Let's not act like Atlanta's world beaters. Let's not act like we're facing Kansas City or Miami, who I can't wait to watch that game, by the way. I know it's over in London and that sort of thing. They're not Baltimore and Seattle who are playing at noon, 5-2 and 6-2. Okay, they're a mediocre 4-4 just like we are. So all I'm going to say is this: there were a lot of worse teams that he could start off with. He's got a game against Atlanta, and if he does well, I don't like the possibility of Dobbs taking over next week, but there could be a possibility, and I don't like it. That's why I want Jaren Hall to go out there and throw for 275 yards and 3 touchdowns and have 40 rushing yards. Be like, nah, I'm taking this. I ain't giving this up. I don't care that you traded for this guy. This is my crew, and this is my show. So hopefully, and I think he's going to do well. All right, back to you guys. Back to our regularly scheduled program. There, now I see some heads up to Tonic there. Thank you very, very much, y'all. I appreciate you, and I know Tonic does too. I lost my spot. This thing was supposed to keep my spot. Hey, I appreciate you, Tonic. Like and subscribe. It makes this all happen, folks. Yeah, it does. I appreciate you. Darth Hall. SKOL Mafia has gotten so many of these Hall puns. And Darth Hall, baby. All right. I went with A New Hope. We can go with Darth Hall. I don't care. Light side, dark side, I don't care. As long as he's got something going on. That doesn't bother me whatsoever. Wild are getting I love the Wild, but oh my gosh, they're just not really good right now. Benignly says we have 2 lottery tickets at quarterback plus KLC. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I've been saying is get a guy in the building, let him learn under the tutelage of Kevin O'Connell and see what we got. That's why we brought O'Connell in here, is to find the next quarterback. It's unfortunate that we had to find him and then put him out there maybe before he's ready. I certainly hope not, but at the very least before we wanted to. Too bad we didn't have the old tight end, Ben Coates. Holland. The Holland Coach show. All right. There you go. For those of you who don't get the reference, that's a group named Hall & Oates, but that's good, T-Bass. That's good. I appreciate you, man. Can't be worse than Josh Freeman or Christian Ponder. Well, there is that. There is that. It could not be any worse than Josh Freeman throwing the ball into the 4th row in Giant Stadium or whatever it was called at that point. Oh my gosh, that was so bad. Oh, that was so bad. And you're right. Ponder had in about 2.5 years, I think he had about 2.5 good games. Oh my gosh. Jaren has all the weapons, just needs experience. Yeah, I totally agree. That's why I'm looking forward to it. Sink or swim, baby. Just going to keep saying mad respect to the lead offensive line developer, Chris Cooper, a silent superpower of the Vikings. Hey, there you go. I mean, I'll admit, going into the season, all off season, I'm just like, why did we not address this offensive line? I will say that I was calling for Dalton Reisner in July because I wanted Dalton Reisner in the building so that he could provide that competition as well as get to know the playbook. But so far, so good. So far, so good. And at the same time, it's funny how Ezra Cleveland and Ed Ingram's games went up as soon as Dalton Reisner got in the building. Funny how that works, right? JDT 93, shout out JDT. What's going on? What's up? Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Don't know what he's got until he plays a full game. I hope so. I hope so. Mary says, yes, his presser was really good. Absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out Mick in the building. Shout out to Mick. What's going on, Mick? Flores has done wonders with his defense. Yeah. I said that on Monday. In fact, do I still have that banner just for the heck of it? Just for the heck of it? No, I think I got rid of it because I was running out of space. So I think I had to get it. I said, tremendous turnaround for this defense. And you dang Skippy, Mick. You are for darn Skippy. That I can't believe it. I said, you know what? If you get up to say like the 20th ranked defense coming off the 31st ranked defense, that's pretty good. The Vikings are like middle of the pack. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. What a great job he has done. Freeman was done before he even got here. Yes, that was beyond a desperate move. You are correct. Shout out Trevor. What's going on, Trevor? Good to see you. Vikings should have taken Levis, just saying. Yes and no. I didn't like him. I didn't want him. And would I trade him straight up for Jordan Addison right now? No, I would not. Because I love the idea of Jordan Addison teaming up with Justin Jefferson. And that I would have preferred they had taken DTR in the 4th round, and DTR went like 1 or 2 picks after Ward, right after Ward. I would have preferred that we got DTR, because if we didn't have Ward, we wouldn't have 2 field goals that got a second attempt on because it's dumb butt lining up offside. But I hear what you're saying. And he looked good, but it was just one game. If Jaren Hall throws for 4 touchdowns against this same team that Will Levis did, okay, then we know Atlanta's really bad, and we'll see what else happens with those 2 rookie quarterbacks. But I'm okay with not taking him because you got Jordan Addison. So you got a dynamic dual wide receiver. But it's a very good point, Trevor. It's a very good point. And again, everybody shout out Trevor. First time in the building, I believe. And Trevor, if it's not your first time, I apologize. But either way, everybody give a shout out to Trevor. I very much appreciate it. Very much appreciate it. Watch Jaren on the sidelines in preseason. No fear. Yes. Okay. Very good, Panabanini. That very good comment. One of my friends, Mike Castellino, the king of Vikings Twitter Spaces, he's just like, oh, I've seen enough. He's terrible. I'm like, he's playing with 2s and 3s, but he got better each week. Not like world-beating better, but he improved. What else do you want from a rookie quarterback except to show improvement? And guess what? In game 3, actually played behind the 2nd-tier defensive line instead of the 3rd tier, and was pretty darn good for what it was. And then guess what? They went to the 3rd-tier offensive line. He didn't look good. Okay. What do you expect? A chef is only as good as ingredients, right? So that's all I'm going to say. And like I said, we'll see what happens now that he's playing behind the 1st offensive line and playing with the 1st set of wide receivers. But I absolutely agree. And that's a point that I made on Monday, is that the moment doesn't seem to be too big for him. But like you said, no fear, no panic, great demeanor. Absolutely. Good comment, man. Good comment. Appreciate you. What's up, Frozen? Yeah, T-Boy. Oh, yeah. They caught the episode. I appreciate you. To give him little credit in preseason games, that's what I was just saying. No, you're totally right. T-Bass, the dude spent 2 years on a mission in a third world country. He's not going to crap himself due to pressure. You know what, T-Bass? And it ain't just because you hit me up earlier, but no, we got to do this. I give you 2 claps and a Ric Flair. I totally agree. Let's get this one back on. Age barely matters to the quarterback. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. So what? You're the same people. Talking about Jaren Hall being 25. You're the same people that thought Kirk Cousins could play to 45 because Tom Brady did it, and that Drew Brees played as long as he did, or that Brett Favre played as long as he did. And y'all saying Kirk Cousins can do it because he's never gotten hurt. Oh, wait. We'll see. Hopefully he can come back, whether he's with us or not. I've already made my stance clear on that, and now I'm going to touch on that in a little bit. But For all y'all talking about, well, Kirk can play till he's 40, 43, 45, but you're going to talk about Jaren Hall being 25? Come on, have some consistency. Hall has a team surrounding him. Yes, absolutely, Mary. Absolutely. Partying isn't really a thing in the moment. No, right. Yes, he will. You're absolutely, Mr. Tonic. But yeah, absolutely. He will have a clear head and sound decisions, we hope. Yeah, that's all we can do. Can't wait for the first Hall Mary to Addison Sunday. I hope he doesn't have to go to the Hall Mary, because at the end of the day, we shouldn't have, unless it's at the end of the first half. At the end of the first half. And yes, he's got the mobility. Absolutely. Shout out G Mac in the building. What's going on, Greg? Hey, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Okay, yes. Same thing. The difference between 23 and 25-year-old me. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't mean to be whatever, but and that one. T-Bass. Oh my gosh. All right, enough of that. SKOL Mafia. Yes, welcome, Mr. Tonic. We call ourselves Purple Gang. Absolutely. Purple Gang, baby. We got Nick in the building. Shout out. Nick, how happy are you? We get to see anybody. You know, here's the thing. You know what? I'm gonna get back to that. That's gonna be my last theme of the night. So I will get back to you, Nick. But everybody, shout out Nick, and let's hit the reset button. Hit those like buttons if you didn't. Wipe your feet at the door and hit the like button for me. And if you don't already subscribe, hit the sub button for me. O'Connell is the guy who will make sure Hall will be ready for Sunday's game. Yes, absolutely, totally agree. Manic, give Flores a race. No, absolutely. Oh, the Wild is starting to come back. Okay, fair enough. Nick, I hate that Kirk got hurt. Would never want to, but this is exciting. Not knowing where we're going to get sent. Yes, I will absolutely agree with that. But you know what? I'm going to bring that back. I'm going to start at one. Major turnaround for the defense. Absolutely. Levis is checked down happy. I didn't get to see the game. I just saw the box score. So I'm not going to pretend like I did. I don't worry a bit that Flores is going to get hired as a head coach next season. Yeah, I know where you're going with that. And again, there's part of me that would love for him to still be our coordinator next year. But, you know, if he's offered an opportunity, then you can't hardly be mad at him for taking it. I keep saying I'm going to make the deluxe reverb one day. So yeah, there you go. I knew T-Bass was going to have a comment about Lewis Cine eventually. Really excited about the vast potential of Lewis Cine. All right. You know what's funny about T-Bass and his Lewis Cine? You know, for anybody who said that me and Rap, you know, had Kirk derangement syndrome, that's T-Bass was seeing, and he's got those lines every show is at least one, if not two. Appreciate you, Bass. It's interesting. JJ is so good that you basically need a wide receiver 1B to truly cash in on all of his value, or it's a partial waste. His job shouldn't be just to preoccupy. Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. And like I said, we got these guys for years to come, this duo. You know, Carter and Moss, we knew it was going to be a 3-year window, and it was only a 4-year window total. And we knew, because Chris Carter was on his last leg. He was in the twilight of his career. Both of these guys are just starting. JJ's entering his prime. Jordan Addison is a rookie who's already shown you that he knows what's going on and he knows how to get things done in the NFL. I cannot wait. It's going to be good. Mr. Tonic says, been a fan since 75, 6-year-old obsessed with the purple. People leaders first jersey was number 44, Chuck Foreman. Mr. Tonic, if you really, now I'm going to say this. Me and Dave, who do a show Tuesday nights at 6:30, we actually got twice the opportunity to have Chuck Foreman on our show. Now, you're going to have to go back a little bit because it was almost a year ago. So you're going to have to click on the live button and you got to keep scrolling. But Chuck Foreman's one good dude. He's absolutely one good dude. And we just would ask him a question and me and Dave would just sit there and listen to him. We just put a quarter in him and the wheels kept turning. I never got to see him play. I actually got to meet him in person earlier this summer, but JDT, Brady's just different. Oh, yeah, of course. Absolutely. Same can be said about McBride. He improved every preseason game I see Brandon. Yeah, I want more Cam Makers before I'm willing to go that way. But your point is well seen. Your point is absolutely well seen. I love how people think Hall is Decrepit old man. Yes, absolutely. It's like we ain't even seen him in a regular season game yet. Oh, it's ridiculous. Oh my gosh, in heaven. It just never stops with these people that it's like, come on, dude. We finally got a guy that we took and that we want to develop because we saw his skills, as opposed to just, oh, we're going to get a retread or somebody else drafted him and didn't want to re-sign him. You know, that ought to tell you something. The team that drafted him didn't want to re-sign him. Okay. Okay. Or somebody like Brett Favre, who was 40 years old, and it was just a marriage of convenience that he could play the Packers twice. Let's just call it for what it is. Mateo says Flores should have been our head coach. Well, yes, you did pound the table for him in Twitter Spaces. That being said, Flores has a lot of work ahead because our defense will need to be lights out. Yes. And that's a point that I made and that I'm going to make also on the pregame show is that, yes, the defense is going to have to pick up some slack. When it's Kirk Cousins and all those offensive weapons, yes, the majority of the talent is on the offensive side of the ball. With Kirk Cousins gone, it's kind of hit its equilibrium. So at the end of the day, yeah, the defense going to have to step up. Yeah, I totally agree. Yes. With Alexander. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to try to do this simultaneously. I'm going to try and find them because it was on the under the lights, but you know, YouTube just goes in chronological order. So you got to really scroll down because it was last season that we had them on. See if I can find it for you guys and put it in the chat for you so you can click on that and go to it after the show. Aha, here it is. Now, this was the first one. Okay, here was the first one for you, T-Bass. Let me see if I can find the second one real quick. But anyway, yes, had him on. He was one of the first few guys we had on. We also had Greg Coleman on too. And he was an absolute blast. Okay, here's the other one. Now, I'm going to say this to you, T-Bass. I didn't have a microphone yet. And so I was using the microphone in the laptop. So my sound quality is absolute garbage. I didn't have my lighting. This was the early days of Purple and Gopher days. So that's number one. And that's number two. You're going to have to know that the production value was absolute crap. Okay, so just be aware of that. But no, he was absolutely outstanding. G-Mac T-Bass reporting from the scene of the crime. That's a good one, Frozen. That's a good one. Well seen, isn't that an oxymoron? Yeah, that's funny. That again, brilliant, T-Bass, brilliant. With the transfer thing being easier now, we're going to see a lot more of these 25. Oh yes, absolutely, and the fact that they got the NIL money. You know, there was a time where people come out their junior year because their family members were in tough shape, and so they needed to get that money. Now you got the NIL money. You're right. There is going to be a lot of older players coming into the league. I totally agree with you. I used to cook and deliver pizzas to Greg Coleman's fan. Is that right? Benchwarmer Bob. Oh, that's awesome. Candace, Hank Thomas in Apple Valley. He was the coolest dude ever. Real quick on Hank Thomas. I went to a signing. I'm trying to remember. Was it last winter? Was it early spring? Somebody who was dear to me. And we got to see Keith Millard, Henry Thomas, and 2 Minute Tommy. And they were all the coolest dudes ever. Like, this hat that I'm wearing right now used to be the hat that I would wear out. I don't anymore. In fact, let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, you can't see. Maybe you can see. There's Keith Millard. There's 2 Minute Tommy. See, I used to wear it, and then my sweat got there's like, okay, I can't wear that one anymore. I don't remember where Hank Thomas signed it, but that's all right. So now I only wear this hat when I'm doing the show, because generally speaking, I don't, start sweating through the hat like I was when I was outside. But anybody else getting occasional? Thank you for letting me know that. I don't know why that is. Because I got this all plugged in, but yes, I was watching back a couple of shows that I did last week, and there's, just a couple of seconds here or there. I haven't figured that out yet. Yes, absolutely, class act. Absolutely. You're welcome, T-Bass. Absolutely. Yeah, it sounded like you were using a phone on the speaker for a second. Well, so if you watch those 2 episodes, they weren't very good from an audio standpoint and a visual standpoint. Normally, they say Be seen, not heard. You guys are good. You guys are good. Guys, we all know that Lewis is the king of hide and seek because we can't see him. He's the king of hide and seek because he ain't been seen. There. I'll take that one up a notch for you. I think we should put Scene in the Where's Waldo sweater so I can spot him during the game. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. T-Bass still waiting for Scene to stack his first body. Then he'll be on the case. There you go. There you go. There you go. I have a hat signed by Harrison. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys. Sweet hat. No, you're right, Frozen. You're right. Okay. Let's go with this one. No, this one. And I'm actually going to loop this one for a minute. This last one is going to be it's going to be the last one for the night, ladies and gentlemen. But now I used this banner on Monday, but I think it's apropos for what I'm finna say here. Is this the end? I don't know. There's been talk of, will Kirk Cousins be back because now his value is going to be lower and we can get him on the cheap. Okay, I hear that. But I'm also going to say, would we ever take Kirk Cousins' name off the table for a second? Would we want to sign a 36-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles injury? The answer is no. So don't let the fact that it's Kirk, the guy that we've had for the last 6 years, change your mindset. You should be in the same mindset. But there's an old saying that you've only got a finite amount of time. And it's unfortunate because, as has been said throughout the week, we have wanted to get Kirk Cousins a decent defense. Now, he had a good defense in 2018 and 19, but 18, John DeFilippo, 19 was just kind of whatever that. And then for the last 3 years, defense has been pretty bad. And then it was, hey, can we get him an offensive line? Okay. And, some people, and you know what? I'm going to get back to the comment that was made earlier because I saved it when Nick said, ha ha ha, Justin, how happy are you now that we get to see anybody instead of Kirk? I'm not happy because I would have rather it been after this season, not in the middle of the season, particularly when this team has gone on a 3-game winning streak, and particularly when it looked like they were starting to turn it around. Now, granted, it was our 4 wins, 3 of them are against garbage teams in Green Bay, Chicago, and Carolina. So we have to put that disclaimer out there. And yes, I know San Francisco has lost 3 games in a row, but you can only play who you play. And yeah, 1 possession game against everybody else. We're going to hang a banner for that? Are we going to get a participation trophy for that? Absolutely not. But they were starting to figure things out, and Kirk had never missed a game. It's so Vikings-like. We finally get what we're looking for. But the point I'm trying to make here is this. There's a song, and it's been remade and reproduced by I don't even know how many people, but it's called Big Yellow Taxi. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? So yes, the Kirk stands are saying to those of us in the middle, and certainly those of the other group of the haters, it's like, all right, you wanted this to be the last year of Kirk. And you said it doesn't matter if we take a step back at the quarterback position because we're going to use that money on other parts of the roster. Well, now you guys are going to see what life is like after Kirk, at least for the rest of the season. And yeah, there is absolutely something to be said about that. And as I was saying, I would have rather it been starting scratch where somebody else is taking the first team reps in training camp as the starter on week 1. But yeah, we're finally going to see what it's like. And we laugh at our Packer fans that don't know what it's like after 30 years of having a Hall of Fame quarterback until now. But that's different. Aaron Rodgers had run his course, and Aaron Rodgers wanted out of there. He didn't get hurt. I mean, he got hurt in New York. That's another story. But the pertinent lines in Big Yellow Taxi is, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Maybe we didn't know what we had. You know, there's times where you just don't know what you have until you don't have it anymore. And there's times where you just got to deal with it. I'll be honest with you. SKOL Mafia has called me out on it. And I don't mean call me out in a bad way. He's just like, Justin, are you all right? And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've been kind of in a funk for the last couple of weeks. Well, I've been in a funk for probably the last 6 weeks, but it's been exacerbated over the last 2. And that's why when I start these shows, I always say thank you to you guys so much, because doing these lives on YouTube and interacting with you guys is one of the few things that keeps me sane. The Vikings were in a funk when they lost Kirk Cousins towards the end of the game. And they were probably in a funk Monday and Tuesday, and probably still to a certain extent are. But you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes when you get in a funk, you have to pick yourself up. Sometimes when you're in a funk, it's other people will try to help you, but they really can't. They can only support you. And so for the Vikings, it's, Jaren Hall is in there and they have to support him. Sometimes you just have to pick yourself up. And that's what the Vikings are going to do. I think that's what they're going to do. If you can get into a funk, and sometimes the only way you can get out of it is for the reason you got in the funk in the first place ends up coming back or changing. Well, there's no magic wand that can heal Kirk Cousins after a week or 2. There's no magic wand. It was so devastating. It was so finite. It was so final that it sucks. If it would have been different if, okay, Kirk sprained his ankle and he's going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks. Okay. Then you go to somebody other than Jaren Hall just to keep it afloat for those 2 to 4 weeks. And then you're not in your funk anymore, because what got you in your funk came back. But Kirk ain't coming back. For better, for worse, Kirk ain't coming back. So the Vikings are going to have to get themselves out of that funk, because what got them into it ain't coming back. I don't know at this point if I want Kirk back. Because like I said, if he would sign a deal on the cheap and he could be shown that he's healthy, maybe, but probably not. I'm not going to go back on everything that I've said, which is, hey, this should be the last hurrah. We got to go in a different direction because we've done the same thing over and over again. But I am going to say that maybe we'll find out that we didn't know what we had until it's gone. And at the end of it, maybe Jared Mahomes Hall will get us out of that funk, because it is the new one. It is the new quarterback. Whenever you lose a leader on your team, we lost Justin Jefferson, who was a leader on the team, but we still had Kirk Cousins, who was another leader on this team. And we ain't lost a game since Justin Jefferson went down. That doesn't mean I'm saying, oh, just trade Justin Jefferson. We don't need him. Okay, stop that, man. Stop the cap there. Okay, but Kirk was just coming around. He was just coming around. It's kind of like Teddy. From the analogy standpoint, Teddy was progressing. He was getting better and better and better. Then he blew out his knee. Such a Vikings thing. Kirk, the Kirk stands, where they really drive me nuts is they want to say that Kirk was like this the whole time. And that's just a bologna sandwich, as my daughter would say. That's just total BS. He has absolutely massively improved since Kevin O'Connell got here. And to try to say that, no, he was always like this because you want to be right in your love for Kirk Cousins, you're actually doing him a disservice by not acknowledging his incredible growth over the last year and a half. Now, does that mean I'm changing my mind as to thinking we could win a Super Bowl with him? No. I would have loved to have seen if maybe he could have got through his glass ceiling of the divisional round of the playoffs and, gotten to the NFC Championship game, and then, you let the chips fall at that particular point. I would have loved to have seen that. But at this point, maybe it is the end of him with the Minnesota Vikings. And maybe we do take a step back. I don't know. We'll find out this starting this Sunday. And for a while, it doesn't have to be that way. We got the Falcons. We got the Saints. We should beat those two teams. Denver on the road, Sunday Night Football. If it was Kirk, I'd say we have a good shot to win that game, but with Hall, probably not. Then you got the Bears in the bye week. So you get 7-5 at the bye week. And then you got the Raiders after that. You get to 8-5 before your last 4 games. Yeah, since he's going to be tough, that's still a loss. Green Bay is still a win. So now you're at 9 wins. If you can split with Detroit and get to 10, you might get into the playoffs. And we'll see what happens after that. But maybe the Kirkstans, or those who at least supported him, maybe one notch below the Kirkstanian level, who always said you don't know what you got till it's gone. That very well may ring true. And that put the team in a funk. I mean, if you went around that locker room after we all knew that Kirk was done for the year, the guys were all like quiet and upset and crying and saying, I can't believe this and all this stuff. And it's just like, I can't believe I had what I wanted, which was a middle of the road defense, if not slightly better, and a very good offensive line. You had everything you wanted. And sometimes in life, you don't realize that you had everything you wanted until it's too late. And you come to those realizations and it's already too late. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm confident in Jaren Hall, at least for this weekend anyway. And we'll see how he does. You know, Will Levis tore him up. I don't think he's going to throw for 4 touchdowns, but I think he can get 2 or 3. I think he can scramble a little bit and let his receivers get open a little bit. And dare I say, on a smaller level, do some of those things that all of those other scrambling quarterbacks can do, buying time and then throwing on the run and, you know, just breaking the backs of a defense who had that defensive play won, but then it turns into, how did he do that? Wouldn't it be great for us to finally have somebody like that, where it's just like the defense did everything right and we and they still lost the rep? Holy cow, would that be great? Anyway, before I get to these last set of comments, I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much. It's been rough, if I'm being honest with you. It's been rough. But you guys make this, you make it okay. You make it to where I still have something to pick me up. Doesn't get me completely picked up. Once you lose something you had, you got to pick yourself up. Others can try to give you a helping hand, but it you know, sounds like the Cowardly Lion. What makes the muskrat guard his musk? Courage. What do they all got that I don't got? Courage. You know, sometimes you just gotta, even when you think you're not strong enough, you gotta just be, hey, this is what it's gonna take. So I thank you guys so very, very much. All right, last set of comments here, then we're going to get out of here. I didn't even try to pretend that I was going to keep it under an hour tonight because I knew I was going to ramble. If Hall completely tears stuff up, the chances are way small. Well, there's that. There's that. Depends on how well Hall plays as well. Yeah, I met Linval Joseph. Oh, really? You met Linval and Anthony Harris? Okay. What was I going to do? Yeah, exactly. No, exactly right. Hunter hooked me up with a free signed jersey because I'm an LSU Vikings fan. There you go. There you go. Let's see. Bought a football signed by the whole 2003 team. There you go. Foreman signed my poster at the last training camp. What a trip and talk. Oh, absolutely. I still laugh at Keith Millard's threw a couple of drinks through the window. Yes, for grabbing his. Oh, yes, I remember. I remember the time where Keith Millard got pulled over by the police, and the police guy was saying to him, "You really gonna talk to me like that?" And he says, "My arms are bigger than your guns." Oh, dang. The cojones on that guy when he's gotten pulled over. And it's just like, no, you ain't writing me a ticket. Great hat. Not usually a fan, boy, but hold the Jaren Hall sign. Okay, there you go. There you go. We have young guys that need extended, can't put that kind of money into an order quarterback. We're really going to have to. Oh, yes. And like I said, if Kirk had finished the year, been in the MVP conversation, there's no chance bringing him back because he would have outpriced us. Now that he's going to miss half the season, if his price come down, we'll see. Because, you know, I've said it a million times how the Wilfs are. We know how to. Okay, that's what you meant by if he completely stuffs. Okay, yeah, okay, I get you now. Defense lost us the championship. Oh, or the playoff game. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Not happy per se, just excited in a way. Yeah, I'm with you. You know, I didn't want to see what happened happen. I wanted to see Now that we figured this out, now that we got a defense halfway good, and now that we got a pretty good offensive line, I would have loved to have seen it that year. 7 years, one playoff ring time. I don't disagree with you. I'm saying that I would have loved to see how this season played out. I gave you my thresholds on Monday. Missed the playoffs. Let's say Kirk didn't get hurt and he played all 17 games. Missed the playoffs, gone. Wild card round loss, gone. Divisional round loss, gone. NFC Championship game victory, regardless of whether you win the Super Bowl or not, yeah, I give him an extension. If he got us to a Super Bowl for the first time in my lifetime, yeah, I'm extending him. You just can't not re-sign the guy that took you to the Super Bowl. Now, if we had lost in the NFC Championship game, I would have been 50-50 on it. I would have said, well, tell me how the game went. Tell me how the game went. Real quick, I need to take a swig here. Yapping for an hour without one at all. Biggest comeback in NFL history. I was at that game. Even if it was against Shatter, you can't take that. You're right, JDT. That was the first time I took my daughter to a game. There was a couple others with us there as well. But that was a great afternoon. And I'll be honest with you. If my daughter and the other young one weren't there, I would have seriously considered leaving. So, like the first half of that game, we're just like, I can't believe this is the first game we brought y'all to. It was just absolutely awful. It was so bad. And then they went 3 and out on their first drive, and I was just like, all right, man, we should probably go. And then it just started and kept on building, and it was a great afternoon. Didn't start off very well, but Mr. Tonic, I got your notification. I appreciate you, Mr. Tonic. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Defense has not lost us a single game this year. Yes, absolutely. They did not lose Tampa Bay. I mean, I would say the Eagles game, he gave up 31 points and 150 billion yards running. I would say maybe the Philly game, you could say. But again, the Chargers game, I put it more on the offense. I agree with you. But yeah, obviously Carolina and Chicago were the only we won because we scored a defensive touchdown by and large. And they had a great performance against the 49ers. I think they had an adequate performance against the Chiefs. I mean, you're holding the Chiefs to 27 points. That should be enough. That should be enough for a victory. But I agree with your point. And by the way, shout out Ditter. Shout out to Dave Ditter in the building. What's going on, Dave? I appreciate you, man. I know I'm way behind on chats because you know me. When I get into a topic, I have a tendency to ramble. But I think Kirk has had ample time. Yeah. I by and large, I agree. I'm not saying I want Kirk back. What I'm saying is I can see the Vikings considering to bring him back, particularly if his price tag has gone down. So let me be clear on that. I'm not saying I'm ready to move on. That has not changed for me. I'm just saying that knowing Ziggy and Mark Wilf, we can get Kirk Cousins back at a discount. Oh, well, let's just keep rolling with Kirk. No, I feel bad for what happened. I did not want that to happen, but it doesn't change the fact that I still say we got to move on. As much as I like Cousins' experiment is over. Yes, totally agree. I don't know where we're going, but I sure know where we've been. That statement rings true for a lot of different reasons. I'm good with it. We get to see what we have. Yeah, and that's the thing. And I said it in the offseason. If you miss Kirk for a couple, 2-3 games, you put Nick Mullins out there hoping to stay afloat until Kirk gets back. But if he's out for the season, then yeah, you see what you got in Hall. I'm going nowhere, but at least I know the way. There you go. I appreciate you, Mary. I appreciate you. All average somebody in. We one good Hall game away from forgetting Kirko. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Teams gamble at quarterback, as we did with Kirk and Mannion. Now Kirk and crew. Certainly don't ever want Mannion. Oh, gosh, no. Absolutely. Ryan's got his prediction in 24-17 Vikings. We'll take that. We'll absolutely take that. Tonic says, that game against the Chargers. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to get too much into that. Mateo says 9-6 on a touchdown and a safety. Okay. All right. Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. Vikings need to prepare for a lot of 3-and-outs with the rookie at the beginning. That means the defense must have, yes, the defense is going to need to win this game. And that's okay. It's okay to ask your defense to win you a game while you've got a quarterback making his first start who got 2 drives under his belt last week. But yeah, if you think Kirk is on, you watch me. Oh gosh, you ain't even kidding, JDT. You ain't even kidding. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My guess is Hall won't be turning the keys over anytime. So I hope so, SKOL Mafia. I really do. Again, I'm tempering my enthusiasm and my expectations because to have ridiculous expectations would be ridiculous from the department of the redundancy department. But I think he's going to be okay. And I think as long as he keeps improving, as long as he learns from mistakes, because in life sometimes you don't learn from your mistakes. Not just in football, but life in general. And it's just like, at the end of the day, as long as he can keep getting better, that's all I want. That's all I want to see. No quarterback has. Oh gosh, yes, I've made that comment a million times, Mateo. That for as good as Cousins looks, sometimes he's kind of an all or nothing kind of guy, that kind of quarterback. And that's why at the end of the season he'll have really good numbers. But if you dissect it, it's like, yeah, you had really great numbers for half of your drives, and you had 3 and outs in the other half of your drives. Third down conversion is a very, very good point, JDT. Very good point. Yeah. Are you seeing the comments you're reading? No, I don't. When I'm doing my themes, by the way, thank you for reminding me. I forgot to change it back. Reset, like button, subscribe button, hit them, ladies and gentlemen. No, when I'm doing my themes, I don't look at the chats because that will distract me and keep me from getting to my points. So that's why I do a topic, I do chats, I do another topic, do chats, because, and again, that's why I get so far behind, because now I'm 10 minutes behind on chats. But never do that one again. I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that again. Devil scored again. Okay. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. You could say that. And I appreciate that too. Yeah, Keith Millard. He was just a beast back in the day. He was just a beast. Appreciate you, Mary. I keep telling myself that. I don't believe it though. But sometimes you have to tell yourself something more times than really should be necessary before you start to believe it. And at the end of the day, eventually you start to. And eventually you realize it was not as much as you made it out to be. But there are times where while you're making it out, regardless of whether it's more or less than it should have been, you sure do feel like it. Yeah, I totally get you. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you. Shout out Dylan in the building. Shout out Angel in the building. You know what? I've been running that same music. I forgot to change it up here. So we're going to turn that one off, and we're going to get two of my guys. Thanks for the comment. I appreciate you getting back to Dylan. You made it. Don't know how about Hall. And honestly, watching Levis tonight has me. All right, so tell me about tonight's game. I haven't watched tonight's game at all. I had some daddy duties right before. Okay, so Pittsburgh leading, Tennessee 16-13. Okay, what's Levis been doing? And again, I said it earlier before you got here that because one of the commenters, I forget who it was, said should have taken Levis, and I'm saying, I would have rather taken DTR in the 4th round before Ward and have Justin Jefferson and Addison and a new quarterback versus Will. If we had Will Levis, we wouldn't have Jordan Addison. So I can see where he's going, but we'll see. I mean, again, Jaren Hall is about to face the same team that Levis faced last week when he threw them 4 touchdowns. So at the end of it, I think it's I think he's set up for success right out the gate. I'm not saying he's going to win the rest of the games, take us to the playoffs and all that, and take us to the NFC. I'm not saying all that. I'm saying I think this kid's going to be all right. I think he's going to be all right. If they let Kirk play on a segue, come back to us as a mobile. Oh, that's funny, Frozen. That's funny. You guys have had some really good ones. You and T Bass and Mateo and a handful of other guys. You guys have been really good with the one-liners tonight. 721 quarterbacks have played in the Super Bowl era. Only 64 have ever played in the last game. Oh, yeah, exactly. The Wild lost again. Ugh, that sucks. There you go, Frozen. Yeah. A giant pillow fight. It was 13-10.5 lives in that. Okay. All right. So, well, yes, they are absolutely. And there's nothing in the NHL you can do. Like, you can maneuver money around with the salary cap in the NFL. You can't do that in the NHL. Yeah, the Parisian Suitor contracts. And we knew that getting into the bit that that they were going to come back to bite us in the end. And at the time they said, hey, we're willing to assume that responsibility. Tonight's game has been canceled. That's what I'm saying. You know, I think the first time I ever interacted with T-Bass was on One Bar in Lupagus, and I was just like, dang, this guy has got some really good ones. And, you know, I would make the appearances. I didn't get to see Horned Up tonight because I had some daddy duties, like I said, but I'll watch it after I'm done with you guys. But I think it was 2 or 3 shows in a row. I got to do, the bold predictions, or on the post game do the studs and turds. And, when T-Bass comes over, I was like, okay, finally. All right. And I say the same thing about Patrick and Vikings Funeral, who yes, exactly. That's the one. That was the one where I'm 2 people. No, I was right after T-Bass when he went in there with no shirt on One Bar in Lupagus. I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that. And I was like, dang, dude. He's like, hey, it was hot down here. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Shout out Vikings fan 123. Let's go, Hall. Absolutely. Yeah, you're right, but no, we ain't talking about them right now. This is going to be a tough season for the Wild. This is going to be the competitive rebuild, and it's going to be more rebuild than competitive for them. But like I said, hit those like buttons on the way out if you didn't hit them already. Tell your friends. Share this on Facebook. Share this on Twitter. Wherever else you got to go. I appreciate you guys so very, very much. And like I said, it's a lot of fun doing this. Yes, absolutely. Those were good. I appreciate you, Vikings fan. I appreciate you. And like I said, I'm going to try to get back to doing some short form content, but got some work stuff, got some other things on my mind that, it's just kind of one of those deals where I would like to do more. But like I said, I decided to do this Thursday night live too, because I just enjoy sitting here with you guys. I really do. Appreciate you, JDT. Appreciate you. Did the Vikings just call it a wish? With I appreciate. That's good, Angel. That's good. I was gonna say I had my Monday night live, my Tuesday night with Dave, and then I discovered, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna do a pregame show, and then Rap and I do the postgame. And I was just like, I don't have time to cut up videos. I'm just gonna go live because, like I said earlier, I've been on the mic for an hour and 18 minutes. Probably go for another 2 here, and that's how much it would take to make a 7 to 10 minutes episode by the time I shoot it. And I'm trying to make points and I'm doing all this stuff. And then I trip over my lines. I'm like, okay, I got to start over and do that again. If I trip up with you guys on the live, I just got to roll with it. I just got to roll with it. But like I said, interacting with you guys makes this so much fun. I'm going to cut on my. Still in the building. I'm gonna be all right. Everybody, I'm gonna be all right. It's gonna take me a minute. That's okay. Like I said, I can't express how much I appreciate the opportunity to do this, and I can't put into words how humbling it is that you guys show so much loyalty, so much consistency. Y'all guys always show up. I did a lunchtime live last week, and a bunch of people, comment, oh, I missed the show. I'm like, yeah, it was a spur of the moment thing. because I knew I wasn't going to do a pregame show because it was Monday Night Football. I think that was the week I did it. But when I have 20, 30 people in the building, it really humbles me. It really makes, yes, absolutely no on Colin Kaepernick. Hell to the no. You know what, though, T-Bass, here's the thing. I'm going to circle back to my spiel in a minute. Yeah, we're rivals in hockey, but I'm going to tell you this story. A couple of years ago, I was at a Wild game for Hockey Day, Minnesota, and you have high school games and you have the college games, and then at the end you have the Wild, and it was against the Blackhawks, and there was a decent number of Blackhawk fans in the building that night. So when the Blackhawks scored, you could legitimately hear a lot of Blackhawks fans cheering for the goal. And then when the Wild scored, of course, they got the foghorn, and it was loud. Well, that was the same day that the Green Bay Packers were hosting the San Francisco 49ers, okay, in the divisional round of the playoffs after the Packers had got the 1 seed, right? Okay, I think you all know where I'm going with this. So it's the middle of the third period, and there's a stoppage in play, and on the speakers, on the in-house music, they played the Packers song, Bang the Drum All Day. I don't want to work. I got to bang on the drum all day. And we're all like, what in the world are they doing playing the Packers song? And we knew it was in the fourth quarter. Like there was only a couple minutes left in the game. And I'm just like, they found a way to win that game. But then I'm just like, wait a second. Why would they play the music to celebrate a Packers victory? So then the puck gets dropped and a couple minutes go by, and then there's another stoppage in play. And it happened to be in the middle of the third period. So, they had to clear off the ice shavings that they do. And again, the building is full of Wild and Blackhawks fans. Okay. Minnesota and Chicago. Okay. So then the dude comes on the PA. Final score from Lambeau Field, San Francisco 13, Green Bay 10. And everybody in the building started yelling and screaming and cheering. Blackhawks fans, Wild fans, we were rivals that night. But for those 2 minutes, the rivalry was on hold because we all love the fact that the Packers lost in the playoffs again. The number 1 seed. They lost to San Francisco again. So we're all high-fiving each other, and then we just turn around. Oh, and there's some like, hey, how you doing? Hey, we good right now. I mean, I was yelling at you earlier, telling you to sit down. You were yelling at me, talking all this trash, right? Hey, for the next 2 minutes, we could put all that on hold. So we was all high. Oh my gosh, it was just awesome. And it was an awesome night. And at the end of the day, life comes at you sometimes. Sometimes you expect it, sometimes you don't, and sometimes you just got to roll with the punches, and that's all you can do. Shout out to my guy T-Bass. I know I've shouted him out a million times, but thank you so kindly for the $40 super chat for the celebration of 850. I very much appreciate you. Very much appreciate each and every one of you. Each and every one of you. In all seriousness, I think now is about as good a time as any to say good night. I want to thank you all one more time. It's bad enough they get credit for the cheese. Do they have to ruin everything? Yeah, that's the song that they play when at Lambeau. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's Bang the Drum All Day. That's the name of that. I mean, it's not a Packer song. It's just a song that they chose to play when they score touchdowns. But, well, you just started, 3 days ago? I mean, come on, SKOL TYA. You got to work for it. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. But yes, that was a really fun night. Just like the Colts game was a really fun game. Just like the Packers game last year, opening the season, beating the Packers was a good game. The Arizona Cardinals game was a good game. We got there just as we were later than we expected to be. And right when we got there was when Kirk had that 15-yard scramble touchdown. Was like, wow, that's a good place. That's a good way to start this game. Anyway, have a good night, brothers and sisters. Absolutely. Shout out to each and every one of you. Each and every. in all seriousness, thank you everybody for coming out here tonight. I will be live at 11:10 Central Time right after the One Bar and Lubbock's pregame show ends is when I cut it on. So I set it for 11:10, but I pretty much started as soon as they're done. You know, One Bar sometimes will say, "Hey, go on over to Justin's channel and get some more in here and go give that man a sub. Go get that man a sub." I appreciate every one of the Vikings content creators that I work with: Rap, Dave and Tyler, and Darren from First and SKOL. GG, One Bar and Lubbock's, Drew and Ted, all those guys. You know, I watched everybody, and I'm just like, okay, I got to try this out. And I wasn't sure how good I'd be at it. I wasn't sure if I'd stick with it or not because I wasn't sure how it was going to go. And you guys have made it all worth it. Well, you've made all of this YouTube thing worth it. So thank you so very, very kindly. Good night, Grandpa Dave. Good night, Mary. Good night, JDT. As Dayon says, stay safe, everybody. Absolutely. This has been Purple and Gold for days. SKOL for days. SKOL to the next episode, which again will be Sunday morning, 11:10 Central Time, plus or minus 5 minutes. Appreciate y'all. Have a good night. SKOL Vikings. Let's win this game. See you soon.